I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this, but I want to fight you.
AJ this morning, he went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was,
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah. But he might do it. He might just do it for, just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events.
Look into the camera and say it directly because it just has to be said. Jake Paul, sir, you are absolutely delusional.
Jake Paul has made it clear that he wants to fight top-level boxers. Now Anthony Joshua has reacted by talking to Eddie Hearn, Jake Paul's promoter. Joshua just told him, "Listen, I'll fight you." He told her this news, which made it clear that AJ isn't afraid of a challenge. However, given their huge difference in experience, it doesn't look like they'll be fighting. People are interested because Joshua is open to the idea. It remains to be seen if Paul really wants that smoke or is just making things more exciting. But AJ's answer makes one thing clear. He's always ready.
We're here. I want to ask you a question because the world of media went mental this morning. Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest with you. And if Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. But the only thing that was disappointed was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, LA Olympics for the surfing 2028, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at this stage, but I don't know. Those two have spoken. I spoke to AJ this morning. He went, listen, of course I'd fight. I mean, if the question was asked to Jai, would you fight Jake Paul? And there was,
I wouldn't fight him, I'd bash him.
Yeah. But he might do it. He might just do it for, just for doing it for the sake of it. But obviously we know. Listen, Jake creates massive events, right? You know that's going to create unbelievable viewership. And no disrespect to Jake Paul, it's a straightforward night's work. But I like this calling out of Canelo and all this. AJ it's another challenge up there. But if they're game, why not?
What did he say, AJ, to you about it?
He said, why not? I said, what do you want me to say when I'm asked about it? And he said, tell everyone I'll fight anyone, anytime. It's not a problem for me.
Jake Paul has set his sights on Anthony Joshua, saying AJ has no chin, no skills, and is stiff. In a tweet, the YouTuber turned boxer posted a picture of Joshua on the phone with the words "Look who called 2026. Anthony Joshua." However, Paul says he would beat up the former heavyweight champion, which is causing a lot of talk. In an Instagram post, Anthony Joshua shared a picture of himself on the phone with Jake Paul. Jake Paul officially called him out and said he would beat Joshua in a boxing match, which is when this post was made. Fans are talking about the chance of a fight between the former heavyweight champion and the YouTuber who got into boxing after a breakup. Meanwhile, Jake shared a post from BVAFA Sports, which stated Jake Paul sent me his list of wanted fights for 2025 and 2026 on February 10, 3 days after the Canelo fight fell through. There were 6 fighters on that list, and Anthony Joshua was one of them. I called Jake to make sure he was serious, and he was. Since 2026, boxing fans and professionals have had strong opinions about Jake Paul's challenge to Anthony Joshua. Many think Paul's goal to fight a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua is unrealistic and overly ambitious.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, "At Jake Paul is the truth." Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And Jake.
Adding to the complexity of Jake Paul's boxing endeavors, reports say that he is also set to fight Gervon Tank Davis. This development follows Davis's recent heated match against Lamont Roach. Despite this potential matchup, Jake Paul has publicly expressed his desire to face Anthony Joshua. showing his ambition to take on high-profile opponents across different weight classes.
Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day, or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true, or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
In the aftermath of his bout with Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis took the chance to call out Jake Paul during the post-fight conference. This unexpected challenge adds another layer to the evolving story surrounding Jake Paul's boxing career.
Who were you gonna call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Man, god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Jake Paul's bold call-out of Anthony Joshua, a two-time unified heavyweight champion, has raised eyebrows in the boxing world. Observers find it astonishing that Paul, with his relatively limited boxing experience, would make such bold claims about a fighter of Joshua's level.
Jake Paul has just called Anthony Joshua out. Yes, Anthony Joshua, AJ, the two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. This brother called this man out. Oh my God. Now, in a recent clip on Jake Paul's podcast, I think, he basically said that he will beat Anthony Joshua's ass and he has no skill, no chin, and he's too stiff for him. He also apologized to Anthony, saying, Anthony, I'm sorry, we're friends, but I know I can beat your ass. This guy is tapped in the head. Then again, he almost got a fight with Tank. If Tank beat Lamont Roach when they drew, he would have fought Jake Paul. It was lined up, basically. A lot of people get mad when people say he's the face of boxing. These highly rated boxers want to fight Jake Paul. So, I don't know what to say, honestly. But one thing for sure, AJ will never fight. AJ is too classy for that. Way too classy. He respects the sport of boxing too much to fight this guy. Absolute plonker. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you follow for the most up-to-date and sharpest boxing news and content on TikTok.
The boxing world has been quick to react to Jake Paul's comments about Anthony Joshua. Critics highlight Paul's previous loss to Tommy Fury, questioning his trustworthiness in assessing Joshua's abilities. A Twitter user stated universally, YouTube boxer Jake Paul, who lost to Tommy Fury, says heavyweight Anthony Joshua has no chin, no skill, and is stiff and that he would beat him. What is this guy talking about? Anthony Joshua has shown openness to Jake Paul's challenge, allegedly telling his promoter, Eddie Hearn, that he would fight. Paul Hearn stated that Joshua's response was, "Listen, he'd fight him." While this indicates Joshua's willingness, many in the boxing community view the potential matchup as unrealistic given the disparity in experience and skill between the two fighters. The prospect of such a fight has been described as delusional by some observers, questioning the legitimacy and competitiveness of the proposed bout.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in, Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury and Ngannou was when it came around, or or Mayweather McGregor. It can't happen.
MMA fighter Anthony Smith has commented on Jake Paul's approach to boxing, saying that Paul targets legendary fighters to achieve lucrative paydays. Smith suggests that Paul's strategy involves provoking established names through trash talk, leading to high-profile bouts that generate significant financial returns. This view aligns with observations about Paul's matchmaking decisions often involving older or less active fighters, which has been a point of contention among boxing purists.
Like our legends, older, shorter, smaller, past their prime legends that have spent their entire careers running their bodies into fucking car accidents, and then we hold these guys near and dear to our heart. And then this fuckhead just pulls them out of fucking semi-retirement and then is not.
Paul's ambitions stretch beyond boxing, as he has also expressed interest in fighting MMA star Conor McGregor. Paul has claimed that his boxing skills are improving while saying that McGregor's abilities are declining with age. This assertion has been met with skepticism given McGregor's combat sports background and accomplishments. Paul's comments show his confidence and his strategy of challenging high-profile athletes to elevate his own standing in the combat sports world.
You think McGregor's done?
I think he has to come back and fight, but he needs to win.
Will he fight you?
I don't think he will. I think my skill level is outgrowing his in boxing, and I have the height advantage. He can't beat me, and I think he probably knows that. And time, he's only getting older, and I'm only getting better.
Many fans are eager to witness a fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, mainly because they think Joshua would dominate and humble Paul in the ring. Paul's history of calling out top fighters and claiming superiority over them has made him one of the most polarizing figures in combat sports. Many fans feel that his confidence in challenging Joshua is unrealistic given the massive gap in experience, skill, and weight class. Despite this, the possibility for a fight between the two has generated massive interest, with some hoping that Joshua would put an end to Paul's bold claims inside the ring.
What do you make of this YouTube
10 out of 10. I'm telling you, it's good for boxing because it's showing people you can fight someone that is well-known, credible, can fight, marketable, without a championship and have that same effect early on in your career, and you can still get all the rewards anyway. So I think that they're showing guys, oh, hang on a minute, there's so much potential in boxing regardless of championships. And I think it's good because now people start taking more risks early on. These guys coming into the game are changing the landscape for the better, showcasing that if you have a business mind on, marketable, creative, content driven, obviously talented, you can generate big business and do great things.
Anthony Joshua has finally weighed in on Jake Paul's growing impact in boxing while acknowledging that Paul lacks mature experience as a boxer. Joshua agreed that Paul has been good for the sport in terms of bringing financial success and big paydays. Joshua knows that Paul's ability to generate attention and sell fights has brought a new audience to boxing, something that traditional boxing purists may not always appreciate.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see, so Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean. So I honestly didn't feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to, so.
I feel like he lost confidence second round. He stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
Interestingly, Jake Paul has long voiced admiration for Anthony Joshua, calling him one of his favorite fighters despite his recent trash talk. Paul has previously praised Joshua for his accomplishments and boxing skills. However, Paul's latest statements suggest frustration with the boxing industry, claiming that too much focus is put on money and politics rather than making the biggest fights happen.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP in Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But How long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Jake Paul has boldly declared himself as the only real fighter in boxing, claiming that he is the one who truly brings excitement and energy to the sport, unlike some traditional boxers who dismiss YouTube fighting. Altogether, Anthony Joshua has taken a more balanced approach. He has stated that YouTube boxing has been helpful for the sport, bringing in a new audience and increasing overall viewership. Joshua admits that fighters like Jake Paul have introduced boxing to younger fans who may not have previously been interested in the sport.
Jake Paul? Yeah, good. Great for boxing. Good luck to him. He's trying. Zero amateur experience. Throwing himself in the deep end. I guarantee you he'll probably learn a lot more than a lot of fighters will that are just half-hearted with it. Man's throwing himself in the deep end, putting himself under pressure. You know, when you can deal with that amount of pressure, you have to get better at it. So yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Jake Paul has made a habit of calling out boxing legends, giving them big paydays, and then trash-talking them after their fights. His fight against Tommy Fury finished in his first professional loss yet, but Paul continues to position himself as the biggest draw in boxing.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon? I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight. And what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money. Get in there. Make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
One of the most controversial moments in Jake Paul's career was his choice to call out Mike Tyson. Tyson, a former heavyweight champion and one of the most feared fighters in boxing history, was thought far past his prime when Paul mentioned a fight. Although Paul finally won a fight by decision in a separate bout, many fans were outraged at the idea of him calling out an aging legend like Tyson. The backlash was intense, with many thinking that Paul was disrespecting the legacy of one of boxing's greatest fighters.
Wasn't the Tyson-Jake fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger than life figure in my childhood.
Truly, me
when
too.
I was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champ of the world. He was an executioner. Like
Truly.
Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Which fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room.
Watching Netflix on Friday night, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson?
Yes, I was. But what did I make of it? I think commercially and a business sense, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Both men made a ton of money. So best luck to them. Congratulations. As far as the boxing fight, it wasn't a fight. It was a tip and tap. Don't hit me, I won't hit you. Circle the ring a little bit. Make it look good. That's all it was. So I don't really make too much of it.
That's it for today's movie. Stay tuned until next.